Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 80. It is Tuesday today. Tuesday after a very busy, exciting weekend here in our home. We hosted a 50th anniversary party for my parents and had just such an incredible weekend of love and laughing and community and people pitching in and working on projects together and just creating such a powerful celebration for my parents. And so yesterday I rested, and this morning I woke up and I was ready to jump back into the activity. And weather report here in Cincinnati, it was beautiful this morning, very sunny and gorgeous and crisp. I was chilly for my morning run, but beautiful. And it's kind of a little hazy right now, so it's just an interesting fall day of weather. But when I went for my run, I could feel that my body was still tired, and I was pushing myself, to go fast and do the way I normally do my run. And what was so beautiful is I kept moving in and out of these different areas in the neighborhood that I run, and the sun would peek through the leaves, and so I'd have to stop and take a picture because the trees right now are gorgeous here in Cincinnati. And so I would stop and I'd take some pictures, and then I'd keep running, and I'd see another view and I'd stop. So it was very much a run walk today. And when I got home, I wanted to jump right into my routine, do my meditation and record the podcast and get busy and do my emails. And what I kept feeling was this need to slow down, to be present. And I was tuning into the feeling of retrograde. I think Venus is retrograde right now, and something else I'm sure is going to be retrograde soon. And in retrograde of planets, it looks like the planet is going backwards. I was reading about it this morning. But it's actually an optical illusion. Each planet continues its rotation around the sun, and sometimes it just looks like we're going backwards. And I had that same sort of off-balance feeling this morning, like wanting to move forward, but feeling like I needed to be still and look backwards and review the weekend and review all of the beautiful details that created this community, this love. And so I took my time this morning. I've been sitting for a while in my meditation space and allowing an exhale, allowing the beauty to settle into my body, allowing the pieces that weren't perfect to just dissolve and move away, feeling into what needs to happen in my work, in my business next, and the specifics that I haven't had time to look at, starting to create some space to be with all of that. It was just this really sweet pause. And so I bring it to this space because I feel like many of us are moving quickly and wanting to accomplish our list and get everything done and move to the next goal and check everything off. And sometimes, often, most times, when we can pause and be with something beautiful that we have created and allow it to really land in every cell of our bodies, we anchor that vibration in. And then it's more than what it would have been if we just rushed through to the next project. That beauty, that expansive love that we created, we all co-created in my home this weekend, I can allow all of that to just settle into my body and allow me to be a bigger love than I was a week ago. With retrograde, it's that same sort of idea. We are still, but we're doing something. It looks like we are still, but we are doing a lot. With the planets, when they're in their rotation around the sun, and it looks like they're going backwards because the speed of our planet and that planet is just at a different pace. What's actually happening is still forward momentum. It just looks like we're going backwards. And so that was the feeling, the vibration, the message that I wanted to bring into the space. And as I was sitting right before I started recording this, I thought the title was going to be Retrograde, and what I kept seeing was the Zen card that is called Patience. On the new moon a few weeks ago, I pulled a series of cards from my Zen deck, and there were, I think, 8 or 10 cards. And you start with where you are in this moment, and then you pull a card for where you want to be by the next new moon in the next month. And then there are these questions that you're asked. It's by the Many Moons workbook by Sarah Faith. There are these questions you're asked, and you pull cards to move you from where you are to where you want to be, and you just sort of answer the questions. And so when I created that arc of from where I was to where I want to be, when I created that arc, there were cards in a sequence, and I sort of bypassed a few of the beginning cards, like exhaustion and stress, breakthrough, no big deal. Moved right through those. And I was spending quite a bit of time focusing on the ones on the end part of the arc. So comparison, I brought that forward, I don't know, last week or the week before. The comparison card and the experiencing card. And I've been feeling how those are so real to me and showing up in my life. And this morning what I got was, you got to go backwards. You got to go back in the arc a little bit. You got to retrograde, and you got to go back to the card of Patience, which is literally at the top of the arc. It could be no more perfect, right? So I looked at the card right before the call, the recording, and I am going to read it to you, and then I'll post the picture of the card in the Soulshine Tribe on Facebook. What I love is how absolutely appropriate and perfect that card is for where I am right here today. Knowing how beautiful what has just been created was in my life, and also knowing what's happening in the next 2 weeks is going to be just as beautiful. And so I'm sitting in between the two, and this Patience card just reminds me to enjoy just this moment. Just be right here and feel the fullness of it. It's incredible. It's just incredible how our soul gives us exactly the message we need when we are quiet and we're listening. So I'm going to read the card for you, and I'm assuming there are matches in your journey. So, Patience from the Osho Zen deck. It says, "We have forgotten how to wait. It is almost an abandoned space. And it is our greatest treasure to be able to wait for the right moment. The whole existence waits for the right moment. Even trees know it, when it is time to bring the flowers, and when it is time to let go of all the leaves and stand naked against the sky. They are still beautiful in that nakedness, waiting for the new foliage with a great trust that the old has gone, and the new will soon be coming, and the new leaves will start growing. We have forgotten to wait. We want everything in a hurry. It is a great loss to humanity. In silence and waiting, something inside you goes on growing, your authentic being, and one day it jumps and becomes a flame, and your whole personality is shattered. You are a new man, woman, human. And this new man, woman, human knows what ceremony is. This new human knows life's eternal juices. It shows in the commentary this beautiful goddess who's pregnant and holding her womb, and there's flowers around her, and above her head in an arc, literally just like my cards that I pulled, in an arc are all the phases of the moon. So the full moon is right above her head, and then you see the phases from new moon to the next round. And here's what it says. There are times when the only thing to do is to wait. The seed has been planted. The child is growing in the womb. The oyster is coating the grain of sand and making it into a pearl. This card reminds us that now is a time when all that is required is to be simply alert, patient, waiting. The woman pictured here is in just such an attitude. Contented, with no trace of anxiety, she is simply waiting. Through all the phases of the moon passing overhead, she remains patient, so in tune with the rhythms of the moon that she has almost become one with it. She knows it is a time to be passive, letting nature take its course. But she is neither sleepy nor indifferent. She knows it is time to be ready for something momentous. It is a time full of mystery, like the hours just before the dawn. It is a time when the only thing to do is to wait. I send you such love and patience and permission to pause again. Thank you for tuning in to today's vibration. Let's take this message of pure love out into all of our communities and continue expanding love here on Gaia. So much love from my heart to yours.